Hello my friends. Let's talk about two major muscle groups of the upper body. The first I want to mention is the pectoralis major, which is located in the chest area. It is very big muscle group located in your chest, and we see this muscle, the pectoralis major, being worked when we do things like push-ups or overhand throwing, or even say a basketball chest press. There's lots of times where we're moving and we're using these muscle groups. They're very dynamic, they're huge, they're a major muscle group of the upper body. So sometimes these muscle groups can get tight, and we need to stretch them. We need to make them more flexible. So in our school world, where we're focusing on our subjects and academics, we are at a desk, and even some of us who work, we work at desk, and we find ourselves having tight pecs, tight muscles in the chest, because we're rounding our shoulders, we're protruding our neck, and these muscles become very tight. So there are some ways in which we can stretch those. You can find a corner in your home or even an angled wall and place your arm at a 90-degree, and then you don't necessarily have to twist at your waist. You can just lean in and feel a nice stretch of those chest muscles. This is very helpful to do daily. We all should do it. Sometimes we get so tight that we experience headaches and other imbalances. So this is a great way to stretch. You can even find a bench or your bed or couch and lay on it, wherever, a picnic table outside. Find a pole, a long ruler, maybe like a swimming pool noodle, and then you just lay down and you stretch back and feel a nice stretch in those chest muscles. You don't want to hyperextend. You just want to stay parallel to the floor and even. And that also will bring you a nice stretch to the pecs. And lastly, there is a floor stretch that you can do. You don't have to use any instruments or tools. You just lay down flat on your tummy with your face bent sideways, and you go into that YV, and you then flex your knee and bend like a pretzel towards one side, and you are in that YV on one side, and you begin to feel a nice stretch in the pecs. Of course, whatever you do to one side, you also want to rotate to the opposing side. And you want to hold this for about 30 seconds to 1 minute. This will stretch those pec muscles. It's very common for these muscles to get tense. Many of us have tight pec muscles, and like I said, we use them a lot, more than we know, in a lot of different movements. Now, there is a group of muscles that's opposite to the pecs. It's on the back side. They're called the Latissimus Dorsi. These muscles need to be just as strong and just as flexible as the pecs. Otherwise, you create an imbalance, and those imbalances can create injuries and problems. So the Latissimus Dorsi, the ways in which you can stretch that muscle group, you can do a child's pose, and you just lay over your heels, you place your arms into a YV, and you lean back over your heels, and you breathe slowly and deeply and press into the floor. You can also walk one arm over over to one side, and you can feel that latissimus dorsi on one side more intentionally than the other. Of course, like I said, whatever you do to one side, you need to do to the other. You can use the table or a bench or a chair or a couch or a stair. You can lean into it like a child's pose, spreading your arms into a Y V, pressing down into your hands, and you will feel your back. The latissimus dorsi is located in your back. It's very large, it's very dynamic. A lot of movements use that muscle group. And sometimes when you're using your pec muscles, you are also using your opposing muscles. You can find yourself using these muscles just simply by pushing yourself against the armrest of a chair as you stand. Some of you may like to row. Maybe you don't have a rowing machine, but you've gone kayaking. You are using those muscles, latissimus dorsi. Throwing, just like with throwing you're using your pecs, you're also with that motion using your latissimus dorsi. You use it during tennis, you use it during swimming, you use it during gymnastic movements, you use it with pull-ups or chin-ups, you use it with toes to bar or tuck knees, which again is gymnastics. So this is a very strong muscle in your back. You want to make sure that you make it as strong as what's going on in front. You also want to make sure it's as flexible as what's going on in the front, your pectoralis major. These two muscles play a part. If one is stronger than the other, that's not good. If one is more flexible than the other, that's not good. So both need to be flexible. Both need to be equally as strong. And there's lots of movements that you're doing that work those muscles.